This story is absolutely fascinating, and there's so much that we can discuss, but we should really kind of start with a clip. And one of the really kind of lightweight when it comes to, intellectually, one of the really lightweight Republican senators out there is a guy named Ron Johnson. He represents Wisconsin. And he's gone completely off the deep end in the past. For example, during a recent congressional hearing about the January 6th riots, he suggested that the insurrectionists weren't really Trump supporters, but it was some combination of provocateurs and fake Trump supporters. And we're going to get to that because it exposes his obvious lies in a moment. But I want to start with a clip of Ron Johnson recently going on the Joe Pags radio show. I don't know if this is an online show or like a broadcast radio, but he went on this show and he said he didn't feel threatened. Ron Johnson didn't feel threatened during the January 6th riots. Now, you might say, well, why didn't he feel threatened if they were, provocateurs and Antifa or whoever? That should be threatening to him as a Republican, right? Well, no, he says he didn't feel threatened because the rioters were pro-Trump people who love the country. But had they been Black Lives Matter, had they been Antifa, he might have been afraid. Take a look at this clip.
White supremacists, they don't really believe that, but they know there's a percentage of those that they're telling that will believe it. That's really the game, right? I mean, there's no way people that you go to work with every day really think that you and I are white supremacists because we believe in conservative values, right?
Well, no, and let's face it, I'm also criticized because I've made the comment that on January 6th, I never felt threatened because I didn't. And mainly because I knew that even though those thousands of people that were marching to the Capitol were trying to pressure people like me to vote the way they wanted me to vote, I knew those are people that love this country, that truly respect law enforcement, would never do anything to break a law. And so I wasn't concerned. Now, had the tables been turned, and Joe, this got me in trouble. Had the tables been turned and President Trump won the election, and those were tens of thousands of Black Lives Matter and Antifa protesters, I might have been a little concerned.
Wow. It's a big statement, but it's a true statement. We see the recent history.
Well, and let's face it, people didn't board up their storefronts in metropolitan areas in case Joe Biden won. And now you take a look at what's happening in Minneapolis with the trial.
So there are just a ton of things there to talk about. Now, first of all, it's hard to hear him say that and not get the sense that he sort of means I wasn't scared because the protesters were white, which, of course, they were almost exclusively white. If it had been black people under the banner of Black Lives Matter or Antifa, then I would have been scared. He does stop just short of saying that. So I'm sort of inferring. I admit I'm speculating. It has that feeling. He doesn't actually say it. So let's not focus too much on that. The part that's hilarious is that in this interview, Ron Johnson says, I wasn't scared because the protesters were Trump people who love the country and wanted the election overturned. They're on his side, so to speak. But during the recent congressional testimony, he used his question and answer time to suggest that they were not really Trump supporters on January 6th, but they were fake Trump supporters. This was just a couple of weeks ago. Remember this clip?
Thousands of people I passed or who passed me along Constitution Avenue, some were indignant and contemptuous of Congress, but not one appeared angry or incited to riot. Many of the marchers were families with small children. Many were elderly, overweight, or just plain tired or frail, traits not typically attributed to the riot prone. Many wore pro-police shirts or carried pro-police black and blue flags. Although the crowd represented a broad cross-section of Americans, mostly working class by their appearance and manner of speech, some people stood out. A very few didn't share the jovial, friendly, earnest demeanor of the great majority. Some obviously didn't fit in, and he describes four different types of people: plainclothes militants, agents provocateurs, fake Trump protesters, and then disciplined, uniformed column of attackers. I think these are the people that probably planned this.
So are you noticing the absurdity of this? In February, during the hearings about Trump supporters who did the riots, Ron Johnson floats the idea they weren't really Trump supporters. They were fake Trump supporters. They were provocateurs. But now he's asked in an interview, did you feel threatened? He says, why would I feel threatened? These are just people who love America and they wanted me to vote a certain way. They wanted me to object to the electoral count. Wait a second, Ron, 2 weeks ago, you said they weren't real Trump supporters. Now you say they are, and that's why you didn't feel threatened. How can both possibly be true? Which one does he actually believe? I think we know which one. I think he believes they were Trump supporters, and he was super comfortable with the fascist authoritarian rioters who were seeking to overturn the election because they're on his side. Had they been anti-fascist protesters, he would have been very, very scared. And you tell me whether you think that that's ideology-based or race-based or whatever the case may be. A disgusting guy, never fails to impress that upon me. And this is just one example of, I actually believe there's two layers to this. When elected officials like this guy talk about they might have been fake Trump supporters, I don't think any of them believe it. When they talk about Antifa was spotted or it's a no true Scotsman fallacy. No real Trump supporter would riot. Therefore, anyone rioting could not have been a Trump supporter. I don't think the elected officials believe it for a second. But unfortunately, a lot of their constituents do. And I've seen some people I went to high school with. I went to a very diverse high school ideologically, so to speak. People I went to high school with, I've seen genuinely posting on Facebook that they believe it was Antifa in disguise. They don't believe that they were actual Trump supporters, that it was Antifa in disguise that got all the Trump flags and the Trump hats and first went to the rally and also posted on Facebook for weeks that they were going to be there. And their entire Facebook persona was staged to look like some people really fell for this obviously false notion. So when Ron Johnson floated it 3 weeks ago, I didn't really believe he believed it. Now it becomes very clear and truly just a bottom feeder, disgusting guy.